Thank you, everybody, again for your interest in the Miller History Fund. This is an overview. I will go through the presentation, and if you have any questions along the way, if you could put them into the chat, we will have a question and answer period at the end of the presentation, and we can also take more questions then as well. But along the way, if you have anything that you have a question for, just feel free to add it to the chat, and Julia will be monitoring those and reviewing those questions with me. So just to let everyone know who we are, the Maryland Center for History and Culture, if you do not know, we are the oldest continuously operating cultural organization in the state of Maryland, based here in Baltimore. Um, we have a collection, our own collection of 350,000 historical objects, and and also items, 7 million um, documents, manuscripts, and other materials in our library. I am Brian Lyles. I am the Director of Annual Giving and Membership. Um, our grant writing comes under my purview here, so I have been in your shoes in writing grants, so I know exactly what goes into that. Um, the Miller History Fund is made possible annually by the state of Maryland. We are just the administrators of this. So the fund was proposed by Senate President Emeritus Thomas V. Mike Miller in 2018, and it was enacted into law. And then in 2021, we named the fund in his honor. So it was formerly known as the Pathways Grant Program, but it is now the Miller History Fund. We administer the grant program as an extension of our mission as an outreach to all people throughout the state and incorporating the rich history and culture of Maryland. We try to be transparent and accessible stewards of these state funds, and we'll get into this more later. We have a panel of independent reviewers that will review the application. So I do not personally have any say as to who gets the grant. It is an independent panel that will be reviewing and awarding the grants. These deadlines that we posted, I'll just run through those. Of course, December 1st is when we announced this. The grant guidelines and materials were published. This is our virtual applicant workshop. January 9th is the date that letters of intent are due. And I know a couple of people have already submitted some LOIs, and we appreciate that. They obviously had some projects that were ready to go. So we appreciate that. But of course, you have until January 9th. And I think the deadline is midnight, but please don't wait until then. I know the schedule is it's not really that tight. It's just happening a little later this year because we wanted to take time to review and to decide what we wanted to award. And we'll get into that a little bit later in more detail. The full applications are due on February 6th. We will make award announcements in April, and then the grant period for the awardees will begin in June. The timeline, even though it's starting later, after today, all items are in line in the past with the same time period. It aligns well with what we've done in recent years. So eligible applicants will steward and interpret historical collections as a core part of their mission activities. The Miller History Fund's definition of historical collections is inclusive of books and manuscripts, photographs, sound recordings, and moving images, archaeological and ethnographic artifacts, art, historical objects, and material culture with a connection to the diverse history and culture of Maryland. Applicants should be government agencies or incorporated nonprofit organizations in good standing with the state of Maryland. I think in the past we have asked that participants be established for about 2 years. Um, so that should also be in the guidelines as well. Um, Applicants must have an operating budget of $2 million or below, well, below $2 million. Exceptions will be made if you are part of a larger organization and you can show your independent operation, and that budget should be below $2 million. Applicants that are not primarily located in Maryland are ineligible because this is funding for Maryland entities. Organizations that have received a past Miller History Fund grant must wait a minimum of one grant cycle after the conclusion of their awarded grant to reapply. And this question did come up with before, within the last couple of weeks. Um, if your grant period happens to be shorter than that 2 year period, because it is a 2 year grant, you are still considered part of that 2 year grant cycle. So even if your project did not run that full 2 years, you still have to wait a full grant cycle after the grant cycle that you were a part of. More about eligibility. The overarching goal of the Miller History Fund is to build the long-term resiliency and capacity of the stewards of Maryland's historical collections. Successful projects will demonstrate how grant-funded activities lead to a stronger organization or heritage community in the future. So these are capacity building grants. So we hope that you will take that into consideration. And that your application will apply to this. We encourage applicants to secure outside expertise, demonstrating the track record of success in their proposed project areas. This may come in the form of organizational partnerships or procurement of consultant services. And we ask that you submit any contracts that you have, any requests for proposals for contractors, and that you supply resumes of people that are involved in the project. So some examples of eligible projects: new marketing initiatives. We know that a lot of funding opportunities do not cover marketing, but this does. Strategic planning is another area. Professional development for staff and volunteers, collection stewardship or digitization projects, a campaign or fundraising feasibility study, sustaining public programs or exhibitions that build new audiences, and new interpretive framework for a permanent exhibition. Examples of ineligible projects: capacity building projects for heritage organizations that do not steward historical collections as a primary aspect of their mission. This is the goal of the Miller History Fund, is to look at historical collections and to provide some support for those. Also ineligible capital projects such as building maintenance, new construction, or historic preservation. Capital planning projects that are not directly related to collection storage facilities and care are also ineligible. And general operating support requests. This grant does not support general operating funds. And as noted here, this is not an exhaustive list, and we do make this definition broad. If you do have any questions along the way before you submit your LOI, but definitely before you submit your application, please ask us at any time. Just send a question to us, and we're happy to talk you through that. So this year is different, and we wanted to take some time to decide how best to use the funds this year, especially in connection with Maryland 250, which we'll talk about more later. But we are anticipating making 4 awards of $50,000 each for the 2026 awards. Again, as in the past, no matching funds are required, and there is an opportunity for bonus points. We'll go through the scoring system a little bit later, but the panel of reviewers will award points for different the requirements along the way, and also there is that opportunity for a few bonus points, but no matching funds um, again are required. The Miller History Fund does not support existing staff salaries. However, um, you may include um, direct, some general indirect or staffing costs as up to 25% of the project. So the submission form is available. This link is on our webpage. It is marylandhistory.org. Under the About section, you have the whole Miller History Fund. Information is available on that page. You will see a list of the past awardees. You will see all of these guidelines. You also will see a sample application format. Um, and also, we are recording, as you know, this webinar, and we will post this as well so you can review that as you see fit. So the actual application is available on Submittable. If you have not used that in the past, I encourage you to become aware of that. You can log in to Submittable, create your own profile. If you're already a member of Submittable through other applications, you can just log in through the profile that you have. Look for on this page mdhistory.submittable.com. That'll list various items that we have under our Submittable account. We also do some publications. We have some fellowships, so there are some applications there. But you are looking for the FY 2026 Miller History Fund, and the LOI is listed there, and the application will be listed there as well. We have had, I know, some history in the past with some people not receiving emails from Submittable. We will use Submittable to contact you. Once you have submitted your LOI, you will get a response back from us through Submittable, and that will occur throughout your application process. We ask that you check to make sure that Submittable is not in your spam blocking settings. So please check your email for that. We know that has happened in the past, but be better to check that now rather than later. This is just a sample of some of the correspondence that you might receive from us. We do need to update this because that person is no longer with us, as you know. But just a sample of some of the messages that you would get from us through Submittable. So the award determination, the Miller History Fund is designed to mitigate bias and provide transparent feedback to applicants that helps strengthen their organization and future applications. Proposals will be evaluated by a rotating third-party grant review panel made up of industry experts from Maryland and neighboring states. As we've done in the past, these panelists will disclose any relationships with applicant organizations and will recuse themselves from any proposal that poses a conflict of interest. Panelists will score applicants' proposals on a scale of 1, which is poor, to 5, which is excellent, based on this list of 7 criteria. So as I mentioned earlier, the commemoration of Maryland 250 is playing a large role in this year's grant program. So in last year, I know we made this an extra point opportunity for organizations that have a project that might be related to Maryland's commemoration of the 250 anniversary of the U.S. This year, it is part of the main evaluation criteria. Also in the criteria is heritage value, clarity, relevancy, impact, expertise, and sustainability. So more on the Maryland semi-quincentennial commemoration. We have aligned ourselves to Governor Westmore's proposal that the state celebrate Maryland 250 in the widest possible way. So this historic moment is a rare opportunity to advance Maryland's public history, engage the public, and conserve and share historical collections from the earliest years of our nation to the present. It is also an opportunity to rethink commemorations and explore voices and stories that have been excluded or obscured. These should be projects that support activities related to the semi-quincentennial, especially conservation and access projects for historical collections that represent the impact of Marylanders over the past 250 years. So it may seem that we have narrowed the focus a bit, but once you look at the proposal, at the what the commission is doing, and what Governor Westmore has proposed to all of us, you will note that it is fairly broad. So any connection to the state's impact on America 250 over the past 250 years will be eligible. The next item is heritage value. Has the applicant demonstrated the social and academic value or values of the historical collections they steward to Maryland's broader culture and their immediate community? Is this resource central to the applicant's mission? Has the applicant demonstrated the extent to which their historical collections are made accessible and relevant to the diverse population of Maryland? Under clarity, we asked if the project's purpose, scope of work, timeline, and roles are responsibilities that are clearly defined. Does the project budget clearly align with the project outcomes, and has the applicant demonstrated the projected costs are reasonable for the work provided? As you would if you've written grants before, and I hope many of you have, these are just standard points that you would look at in any grant proposal. Relevancy. How does the project affect the organization's immediate community? Does it align with or complement an ongoing public initiative? Is the proposed project time sensitive? For example, does it leverage an upcoming anniversary? Is it required as soon as possible to save an imperiled collection or to stabilize a struggling organization? So we do look at relevancy. Has the applicant demonstrated the project, how the project increases their capacity to carry out their mission? This is all related to the impact. How might their organizational operations and outlook improve as a result of successful completion of their project? How is that change realized in stewardship of their historical resource or value for the audience they serve? Projects that contribute to cross-organizational collaboration and the capacity and resiliency of Maryland's broader heritage community will be given special consideration. Next is expertise. Does the proposed project team have demonstrated expertise in the various activities needed for the successful project completion? Expertise, as it states here, in context with could be range from representation from the group the project proposes to serve for community-based projects to formalized conservation training for collections stewardship projects. Also, applicants should clearly describe the roles, responsibilities, and qualifications of the project team members, as I mentioned, including a profile or resume of those project team members will also be helpful. Sustainability. Has the applicant demonstrated how the project impacts and organizational benefits will be sustained over time? Would a Miller History Fund grant be leveraged by other organizational resources, such as additional funds, staff time, or volunteer time? I mentioned bonus points earlier. Here's an opportunity for bonus points. We are looking to build capacity statewide. That is a guiding principle of the Miller History Fund. So proposals submitted by applicants located outside of a designated Maryland heritage area within counties that are underrepresented in the proposal cycle, or those located in priority counties that have not yet received Miller History Fund funding may receive up to 2 bonus points. So priority counties, and this has been updated, that have not yet received Miller History Fund funding are Allegheny, Calvert, Cecil, Charles, Queen Anne, Somerset, Talbot, and Wycomico. So funding determinations. A perfect scoring application could receive 37 points with a score of 5 in all 7 evaluation categories and 2 bonus points for the what I just mentioned earlier, the area that you're applying from. Awardees will be determined based on a scoring curve and the availability of grant funds. Applicants will have access to their final scores as well as consolidated narrative feedback provided by the panelists' comment during their review. This is something that I know a lot of the applicants in the past have valued, so we are continuing that effort to help you. Even if you do not get the award, we definitely want to help you in future years if you're going to be coming back and applying. So that is part of our goal, part of the goal that we are charging to the panelists that are reviewing the applications so that they can provide that feedback to you. If you have questions about the Maryland Heritage Area, whether you are in one or not, there are 13 certified heritage areas, and you can follow this link under Maryland Historic Trust, maryland.gov. And this is the specific link to the page that talks about all of the heritage areas. Organizations, as I mentioned before, located outside of the Maryland Heritage Area are not often eligible for certain state funding opportunities. So these organizations may be given special consideration for the Miller History Fund, and you can check the specific guidelines for those details. These are some resources that we provided in the past, and we're providing those again that will give you some idea of what you might need to look for as you're preparing your application. The American Association of State and Local History Organizations, that has a wonderful website, especially talking about 250 programs. The IMLS, which seems to be back up and running and providing some funding, you can look to them as well. Also look under specifically Heritage Health Information Survey under IMLS. The Maryland Museums Association is another resource you might want to look for. That link is also here, and also the Maryland 250 site, which has the governor's proclamation, the full detail of that, and everything else that Maryland is doing to help commemorate the 250th anniversary of our country. So I am the main contact as your program administrator. You can reach us, you can reach me, and also others have access to this email. Just email us at grants@marylandhistory.org. And as I said before, we are very helpful, very willing to help you in the process along the way. If you have any question, I've fielded a number of questions already regarding the LOI, regarding eligibility. So please, at any time along the way, please feel free to reach out to us through that email, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. So that is it for the presentation. I've asked for you to ask any questions, to put them into the chat, and Julia has been monitoring those. And if you want to go through those.
Sure, we only have one.
Okay.
Susan
Great.
was asking, after submitting the LOI, when will we be notified we can submit an application?
That is within, I think the rule is in our guidelines within 5 to 7 days. I've been trying to get back to people within 5 days or so. Any other questions?
Ruth asks, may an organization submit two applications for two different projects?
Ah, that is a good question. I don't know if we've ever had anyone submit two applications. We probably have. I don't see any problem with that. If you have the time to submit a multiple applications and the wherewithal, definitely. That's okay. We want to make
Okay.
this as broad an opportunity as possible.
Brian, do we have a sample LOI?
Ah, we do. I'll have to look and see. I know we've posted everything that we have posted in the past. I will try to provide a sample LOI. We can put that up there so people can see. That's a good suggestion.
And Marcy asked if we can share the PowerPoint. Can we do that as a follow-up?
Yes, I don't think we did that in the past. We just shared the video, but yes, I was planning to share the PowerPoint so you can see all of these details and links. We will actually send that out in an email to you, and we'll put it on the website as well.
Thank you, Brian. The next question is from Joseph. Is partnering with out-of-state entities permissible?
Um, I am not sure. As the applicant, you definitely need to be a part of the state, but um, let me check on that, see if we've ever done that in the past. Partners from out of state. I think I know the answer, but I don't want to say it right here, and I definitely want to give every opportunity, so I will get clarification on that, and we will send all of these questions. I think we will try to, Julia, if you are recording all of these questions as well, or making a copy of these that are in the chat. Um,
Yeah.
I was thinking earlier today we should probably post those as well.
Certainly. Um, we do have a very specific question about a recipient from 2019 who was unable to close until 2024, and they're asking if they are eligible to reapply.
Hmm. That is a specific question. Why don't you send us an email? Because I will look at your profile and the previous project, and we will handle that individually.
Let's see here. Joan asked, what are the number ranges for the grants? I would imagine the question is, what is the grant total? Might need clarification. And I did
Right.
50,000
Yes,
this year.
we did have a question from someone yesterday. We are planning, we anticipate to award four grants of $50,000 each. Someone did ask if their project is below that amount. Yes, you can apply, but keep in mind that there will probably be other people that are applying for $50,000 and you will be in competition with them.
Brian, for the 250 focus, is it necessary to stay within the early years or is it mid 20th century pioneers acceptable?
Any range
Any, right?
is acceptable. Originally, I know we had as bonus points last year, we did have a range, but we decided to stick to the governor's proclamation as closely as possible, which does say, and let me get the exact wording again. Um, it's anything that is contributable to the history uh, from the past 250 years. So it is rather broad. And again, that wording can be found in our guidelines. And if you follow the link to the Maryland 250 site, um, it's very broadly described. Any other questions?
Just confirming that there are four $50,000 grants totaling $200,000.
Yes.
And I believe those are all the questions that have been placed in the chat.
Okay. Yes, the amount that we have from the state to award out to projects is $200,000, and the decision was made that we are planning to award four $50,000 grants. We decided that this would be a great opportunity since this is such a monumental anniversary for the country and for Maryland to participate as one of the original 13 colonies. We definitely have history that predates the country, and we definitely want as many organizations that have an interest or a project that is related anywhere along the way in the past 250 years to apply and to get this award, which we hope would be transformative to you, which will make an impact in your operations, and again, will be capacity building for you.
I do have a question about when must the project be completed?
The project should be completed within 2 years. So 2 years from the award. The beginning of the grant period is June 2026. So June of 2028 would be the deadline for completing that project.
This person asked just to confirm an organization that has an open grant cannot reapply, even if it is for a different project. Is that
Yes, that
correct?
is correct. You must wait one full cycle before you can apply again.
I have a question specific here. Joseph asks, how well is the history of the colonial era enslaved people documented in Maryland? Which is a broader question than perhaps we might be able to answer here.
That is a
Yeah.
broader question and one that I wouldn't even attempt to answer right here in this venue in the time frame that we have. But
But I would
um,
imagine our library department might be able to help with
yes,
some of the research around that.
yes. If you check the website for our library, you can contact them for any assistance there, and look at some of the other resources that we have listed as well.
And Brian, do you have a sense of roughly how many applicants we receive each year?
Oh, that is another good question. Normally,
Yeah,
I know we
we
have.
can look back, I think,
Yeah,
because
we can look back and see. Right now, I've been taking the time to familiarize myself with all of the awards that we presented,
sure.
but not necessarily the applications. I know it seems like there've been about maybe 30 or so in recent years. That
I
seems
believe that's right. I recall the last email that David sent. So I
right,
think you're within the range of 30 to 35 for the last few years.
right. So it is competitive. It's not overwhelming. Of course, with this opportunity, we don't know. We could get fewer, we could get more. We're prepared for anything.
I think that's everything, Brian.
Okay. Well, if we don't have any other questions, again, please do not hesitate to email us at grants@mdhistory.org. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have along the way. Um, and if you want to set up a special Zoom session, we're also able to do that because I think we've done that in the past as well. We want to make this process as easy as possible for everyone that's applying, especially considering that this is such a significant award compared to years past. Do we have other questions that have popped up or no?
No, I think
Okay,
we're all wrapping. Everybody's just thanking us for their time. Thank you for your
great.
time, everyone.
Great. Yes, thank you everyone for signing up for this. I know it's the holiday season. The way this year has fallen, the schedule has fallen. I know it's not easy, but I think it's definitely worth the effort. So we appreciate you taking the time to join the webinar today. Appreciate you reviewing the materials if you've done that in the past, and appreciate your participation. Look forward to it. So thank you all again and hope to be in touch. Thank you, Julia.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody, again for your interest in the Miller History Fund. This is an overview. I will go through the presentation, and if you have any questions along the way, if you could put them into the chat, We will have a question and answer period at the end of the presentation, and we can also take more questions then as well. But along the way, if you have anything that you have a question for, just feel free to add it to the chat, and Julia will be monitoring those and reviewing those questions with me. So just to let everyone know who we are, the Maryland Center for History and Culture, if you do not know, we are the oldest continuously operating cultural organization in the state of Maryland, based here in Baltimore. Um, we have a collection, our own collection of 350,000 historical objects, and and also items 7 million um, documents, manuscripts, and other materials in our library. I am Brian Lyles. I am the Director of Annual Giving and Membership. Um, our grant writing comes under my purview here, so I have been in your shoes in writing grants, so I know exactly what goes into that. Um, the Miller History Fund is made possible annually by the state of Maryland. We are just the administrators of this. So the fund was proposed by Senate President Emeritus Thomas V. Mike Miller in 2018, and it was enacted into law. And then in 2021, we named the fund in his honor. So it was formerly known as the Pathways Grant Program, but it is now the Miller History Fund. We administer the grant program as an extension of our mission as an outreach to all people throughout the state and incorporating the rich history and culture of Maryland.